On a January morning in 1962, heavy gray clouds hung low over Croatia's sky as icy winds swept snow flurries across Zagreb's train station. Frane Selak, 33, stood on the platform, pulling his coat tight, clutching a train ticket to Dubrovnik. He was an ordinary music teacher with gentle eyes and a simple, peaceful life. At that moment, he never imagined this journey would mark the beginning of his decades-long dance with death. The train slowly pulled away, its carriages packed with travelers. Frane leaned against the window, gazing at the blurred landscape outside. Suddenly, a violent shake shattered the calm. The train car jerked as if pulled by an invisible liliang, and before passengers could finish their screams, the train derailed, rolling into the freezing river. The carriage hit the water with a dull thud as water rushed in, engulfing the struggling crowds. His seat trapped Frane as water rapidly rose to his chest, the bone-chilling cold nearly rendering him unconscious. He forcefully pushed open a broken window and swam toward the surface with all his might, his lungs feeling ready to burst. The riverbank was within reach. He grabbed onto a rock and pulled himself up. Looking back, he saw that 17 passengers had forever sunk to the river's bottom. He collapsed on the ground, his soaked clothes clinging to his skin, breathing heavily, never before feeling so intensely alive. A year later, in 1963, Frane boarded a small plane, trying to shake off the shadow of that previous accident. The sky was clear as the plane took off, and he felt somewhat at ease. However, during the flight, a piercing bang shattered the silence. The cabin door had somehow detached, and the fierce wind pulled him from his seat like a giant hand. He tumbled through the air, surrounded by the howling wind and the plane's roar. He closed his eyes, confident of his death, only to crash heavily into a haystack the next moment. He opened his eyes and found himself lying in the field, with the wreckage of a crashed plane in the distance, and all 19 passengers were dead. He struggled to get up and checked his body, but nothing was wrong. Disaster seemed to become Frane's shadow. In 1966, the bus he was riding lost control on a slick road and plunged into a river. Water flooded the cabin, and 4 passengers remained trapped, never to surface again. Frane forced open a window and swam to shore, his cold, wet body almost entirely numb. In 1970, his car's engine suddenly caught fire. As flames spread quickly, he slammed on the brakes, yanked open the door, and jumped out. There was an explosive boom as the car turned into an inferno. In 1973, another car's fuel tank malfunctioned, with flames shooting from the vents, singeing his hair before he dropped and rolled to extinguish the fire. In 1995, he was struck by an out-of-control bus on a Zagreb street, his body thrown several meters. When bystanders rushed to him, he slowly stood up, suffering only minor injuries. In 1996, 67-year-old Frane, was driving along a winding mountain road when a truck suddenly appeared from the opposite direction, its headlights piercing through the mist. He swerved to avoid it, but his wheels slipped off the road, sending the car toward a 90-meter cliff. In the split second of the fall, he instinctively pushed open the door and jumped out, his body hitting a tree, his hands gripping the branches for dear life. Below the cliff, his car smashed into the rocks, erupting into a fireball, the explosion echoing through the valley. He hung from the tree, looking down at the flames, his heart pounding like a drum. After surviving 7 brushes with death, Frayne thought he would quietly live out his remaining years bearing his scars. However, in 2003, at age 74, he bought a lottery ticket, a casual decision that would change everything. He won a $1.1 million jackpot. The money allowed him to buy a house in Croatia, share some with family and friends, and live out his days in simple comfort. He often sat by the window, reflecting on those moments that nearly claimed his life. The final chapter. On November 30th, 2016, Frayne Selak passed away at home at the age of 87. His life was like an extended test. 7 encounters with death, each ending in survival, finally concluded with unexpected wealth. He once said, "I just survived, nothing special." But to others, his story is a testament to human resilience and life's unpredictability, a true and stunning legend.